And our top story this hour, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and US President Donald Trump have arrived in Singapore for an unprecedented summit. They are due to meet tomorrow to discuss North Korea's nuclear arsenal and Washington's demand for a complete denuclearization. The meet is an extraordinary turnaround from the tensions of last year when Kim accelerated his weapons programs and the two men traded personal insults as well as threats of war. Bringing the Korean War to a formal end 65 years after hostilities ceased will also be on the table. Trump insisted last week that the summit would not be just a photo op and that he's now calling it a one-time shot at peace. And for some more reaction now, this time from China on that meeting in Singapore, we're crossing now to Patrick Fock in Hong Kong. Patrick, good morning. Sakina speaking to you here. So first off, how is the media in China reporting on this latest development in Singapore?
Very good morning to you too. Yeah, well, look, in terms of coverage in China, the latest developments coming out of Chinese media are noticeably light in many ways. If you look at the official Xinhua news agency, it offered some brief lines on the arrival of the two leaders in Singapore yesterday, but certainly there's not any comprehensive coverage to speak of or any of the media buzz you might expect to be attached to an event of this scale. Now, in fairness to Chinese media, the focus has been very much on the gathering in Qingdao of member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which included the likes of Vladimir Putin, Narendra Modi, and also Iran's Hassan Rouhani, who's attended as an observer. Now, there was a mention made in a declaration by the organization of the Singapore summit, or at least it said that it supported the development of dialogue between North Korea and the US, and it also supported ongoing peace efforts, but it certainly didn't make any mention of the US president. And there is this sense that China certainly doesn't want to make any big show of the summit in Singapore and doesn't want to put Donald Trump in the limelight for what is regarded by many, whether Donald Trump likes it or not, to be an enormous political photo-taking opportunity. And I should also add that in an odd op-ed piece in China's Global Times, it said that it would be unreasonable for any peace deal between the North and South Korea to take place during this summit, as China has made it very clear that as one of the signatories to the armistice between the two countries that it would have to be involved. But it's hard to see if, given the opportunity in the next couple of days, Trump would not take full advantage of it with or without China.
Patrick, is there any indication of how China would like to see this play out? I've seen at least one media report that suggested that China might be just slightly uncomfortable with this meeting, given that it could lead to some new geopolitical realignment.
Well, it certainly doesn't like to be looking from the outside, I would say that for sure. But Beijing does definitely want to see a denuclearized North Korea, and it does want to see stability on the Korean peninsula. But at the same time, it would do Beijing no harm if Washington came out of Singapore looking weak. And by that, I mean, if Donald Trump isn't able to achieve anything tangible, or if I can put it another way, if he were only able to get Kim Jong-un to agree to continue the conversation, that could be seen as a failure. And there is this talk about a closing window of opportunity for the US to apply maximum pressure. We've seen that relations between North Korea and China, as well as South Korea and also Russia, have been improving. So it'll be difficult to apply the sort of sanctions that we've seen in the past. And also the US hasn't done itself any favors in the past week. It's certainly distanced itself or isolated itself from its allies following the G7 summit. So this could be a critical moment for Donald Trump and could be his best opportunity at achieving something positive with North Korea.
Well, that was our correspondent in China, Patrick Falk, for a view from the Chinese perspective on this historic meeting. Now,